Here are 3 types of people every new nonprofit founder should surround themselves with when they're starting their nonprofit. Let's get into it. Hey y'all, this is Tiffany with Boss on a Budget. I help people start their nonprofits and raise money from the ground up. I have a private membership community where I help people raise money. It is an accountability community of nonprofit founders just like you. If you want to join that community, comment join below and I will send you the link. So here are 3 people you should surround yourself with when you're starting your nonprofit. People ask me this all the time. What kind of board members should I recruit, or what kind of people should be on my team? So I want to share more so personalities of people you should have around you. I've done other videos, I'm linking one above, where I talk about the kind of people you need around you, like a mentor and things like that. But I want to talk about the kind of personalities, because what you don't realize about recruiting a board of directors in particular, it could be your team too, if you're trying to recruit volunteers or just a team to work with you. But a lot of times what you don't realize is personalities matter, and how people gel as a group matter, and it could make or break your process. So you have to always pay attention, not just to people's skill sets or their experience, but you also need to pay attention to their personalities and their mindsets. So I want to provide 3 personality traits, I'll say, that you should be looking for when you're recruiting people for your nonprofit. So I want you to watch to the end, because I just have a piece of advice when it comes to recruiting your team or recruiting your board that I really want you to hear. The first personality trait is somebody who's good with interpersonal relationships. I don't know how else to say that, but what I mean is you want somebody who's just a people person. And they're a people person because they're good at reading people, they're good at adjusting, they get along, they're agreeable with most people. This is not the person who likes to be right all the time, or who likes to be contrary, or always have an opposing viewpoint, or always wants to play the devil's advocate. Then you may have that personality on the board or on your team, but what I'm saying is you need something to balance that, and you need to make sure that you recruit somebody who is that people person, because you need somebody to help gel the group together. This matters because we don't think about it like this, but you're putting together a group of people who more than likely have never worked together before, and you're asking them to help form a new organization from the ground up, literally from thin air. So if you expect things to go perfectly, or you expect things to just be amazing, then I have a rude awakening for you. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard starting your organization regardless, but you really have to pay attention to the people you bring to your team. And you need somebody who ideally can be your board chair, if it's not you as a founder, who brings people together, who can help mend relationships, who can help with compromise, who can help move things along when there are disagreements. And maybe that personality trait is you, but you also want to recruit other people who have similar personality traits, so that when there's tension or when there needs to be hard conversations among your board, that person can be your buddy and they can help manage those tough conversations or those tough relationships. This comes up a lot when people realize that in their board, they don't have the right people, or in their board, they're dealing with somebody who is very distracting and is not helping move the mission along. And so people become hesitant to talk to those people, or hesitant to address it because it's uncomfortable. But if you invest early and often in relationships with individual board members, so you know those people, you have good relationships, you talk on a regular basis, you listen to them, right? They trust you. If that trust is already built, then those conversations aren't as difficult or aren't as uncomfortable, and it makes them feel way more necessary. Because if you have that open line of communication, then you should be free and okay to say, look, this isn't working. What can we do to adjust or pivot? And having people who are good at managing those types of conversations, who are good at having those relationships and can work a room and be a trusted person among your board, is vital to your success. If you need help recruiting for board members, I do have a board recruitment toolbox. It has tools to help identify the right people. It has sample questions you can ask your board members so you can vet them. It has a bunch of different tools in there. So if you need that, comment board recruitment toolbox and I will send it to you in the comments. The second personality trait you need is somebody who's a go-getter and who can take initiative. So this is the dynamic that I notice a lot with new nonprofits and the boards. And again, I want to be clear that I'm specifically focusing on your board because that's typically the first team that you form, but this could be other people who are working alongside you too. So a dynamic that I've noticed among board members of new nonprofits is that they often defer to the founder because in their head, they see that the founder is the person who started this. It's this person's idea. It's this person driving the bus. And they're just there to ride along. And they may have a comment here and there, and they may pitch in here and there. But honestly, their role is just to sit back and just play the role, whatever role they think it is, which isn't the actual role they should be doing. Board members have to be active. They have to be present. And it's actually one of their duties to pay attention to what's going on in the organization because they are legally and ethically responsible for the decisions that are made by the organization. So they need to be present, but a lot of times board members aren't. So what happens is nonprofit founders get really frustrated because they feel like they have to take the initiative or they have to ask people to do stuff or they have to tell people to do it. And then they have to do it in painstaking detail. Well, I need you to do this, but I need you to do it this way and then do it in this time. It literally sometimes takes that level of detail to get people to move and to do what you're asking them to do. It can be so frustrating, which is why I'm saying you want to recruit people who are go-getters and who are not afraid to learn how to do something and take the initiative to figure it out. Because a lot of times, this is what I've observed too. You come across something that you need help with. Y'all have never done a financial statement ever in your life. Or you need to figure out the accounting, or you need to figure out how to fill out some paperwork or go through the bylaws. And a lot of times the board members will be like, oh, okay, founder. Well, when you figure it out, let us know and we'll just approve it. And that's not how it should work. Everyone is learning together. Everyone has to develop. You have to develop individually in your skill sets as a board member, and you have to grow and develop as a collective, meaning the full board. So it's not good enough for the board or the organization to not know how to do something or need something and everyone be like, well, the founder can figure it out. That's not right. And that actually is your responsibility as a board member or their responsibility as board members to help figure out. So you want people who maybe they've never created a website before, or maybe they've never purchased a domain or set up email or never done email marketing before. You want people who are not afraid to try something new and go out there and figure it out. Maybe the whole idea of artificial intelligence scares the crap out of everybody. Well, you got to figure it out anyway. So you want people who are go-getters and will take the initiative to figure it out and to go to ChatGPT and try some prompts and see what happens. You don't want a whole group of people who are just sitting back waiting for you, the founder, to move. So make sure you identify those go-getters. And the last personality trait you need is somebody who does not scare easily. So very specifically, I mean around fundraising, but it could be other things too. A lot of people will shy away from doing certain things and say, oh, never mind, I'm not going to do it. It's just not going to get done. And it's especially when it comes to asking for money. But you want people who are not afraid to go out there and talk about your organization, who are not afraid to ask their family and their friends to donate and support. I would venture to say, otherwise, what are they doing there? And I'm not trying to be harsh. I know sometimes people have to learn and grow in the skill set to do public speaking and to ask for money. But if they're not willing to try, then that's a red flag. And though I'm saying you want some people with certain personality traits, I will venture to say you need your whole board to have this personality trait in particular. You can't be scared to share information about the nonprofit, because if no one knows about what you do and what you stand for and why you exist, then they don't have the opportunity to support you. And it is not the responsibility of the founder to be the only one carrying the banner and sharing information everywhere they go. Everybody who serves on that board should be proud to say they're a board member of such and such nonprofit that's doing this amazing work. Everybody should be talking about the nonprofit at their family functions, at social gatherings. Everyone should be thinking of opportunities to share more information about what they're working on and what they're a part of. And if they're scared to do that, if they shy away from those conversations or shy away from wanting to do that, that is a red flag. And I'm not saying that you need to get rid of that person, but what I am saying is you need to figure out what value that person brings to your board so that you can figure out how best to utilize their skill sets if they're not going to do those things. So this is my overall piece of advice. The bottom line is that you need people who are active and you need people who are engaged, and you can't be afraid to expect that of them. And it's going to take time to find the right people. So don't expect that your first board members are going to be the ones that stay with you forever or stay with you until you finally start getting your momentum. You're going to go through phases of people, and especially if you're recruiting board members who are friends or family, you're going to go through some tension when people aren't doing exactly what you expect them to do. But what I want you to know is that that is coming, and I want you to prepare yourself, but also not be afraid to push back when people aren't handling their responsibilities. What I need you to know as a founder, that if someone serves on your board, it is a privilege to serve on that board, and they have specific duties that they have to uphold. And if they're not ready or willing to uphold their duties, then they're not the right board members for you at this time. Now, they may be of more help later, or they may fit in a different kind of role, but you have to take your board members so seriously. And when people start showing signs that they're not the ones, I know this is hard to accept, but I want you to push back on that. I want you to have those hard conversations and be honest about whether or not you should continue with those people. I hope this was helpful. I know some of this was hard to hear, but if you have questions or if you have advice for other founders, please drop it in the comments below. If you need help with your nonprofit, don't forget to visit me at bossonabudget.com, and I'll see you in the next video.